Hello guys, it's Aaron once again to talk to you about the Texas Bowl. Wonder where that's going to be at. Anyways, this is a game between the Syracuse Orange out of the ACC and the Minnesota Golden Gophers, one of the surprises of the Big Ten this year. I'm going to get this started right away by talking about the ACC team, Syracuse, the Orange. These guys coming out of New York, they played kind of average this year. They went 6-6 and 4-4 in the ACC, completely 500. Sounds like Ball State's basketball team. Anyways, these guys they ground pounded the ball out. They were all about the running game, and it worked for them some games. And other games it really kind of killed them. Against the lower scoring defensive teams, things like that, they were able to stay in the game, make it competitive, and make it interesting. But against the high octane offenses, if they had a couple bad runs and that defense was on the field too long, they just got destroyed. And I'm going to start talking about that now. They started the year off against Big Ten teams. They played Penn State to start. It didn't go that well. A 23-17 loss at home. They thought they had them, but it just never worked out. And then after that, they had to make a trip out to Northwestern, who was 19th in the nation at the time, and Kane Coulter had a really good game. And they got beat 48-27 by the Wildcats, who ended up not even making a bowl game, but at the time they looked really good. I just don't know what happened to them. After that, they went with 2 wins against FCS school in Wagner and a win against a Tulane team that made a bowl but kind of struggled early on. They beat them 52-17. And then their ACC schedule started, and they lost to all the good teams and beat the bad ones more or less. They beat NC State and Wake Forest, and actually beat Maryland, who was in an earlier bowl game on this day. If you check my video for that, see what I think about them. They beat them 20-3, and they ended their year with a 34-31 close victory over Boston College on Senior Day. But mixed into that were some bad losses. All right. They lost 49-14 in their ACC opener against Clemson. They got beat 56-0 against Georgia Tech midway through the season. Late in the season, they played Florida State and got beat 59-3. Jameis Wilson just destroyed them. Winston, I can't talk. And their next to last game was a home game against Pitt, and they thought they had it, but Pitt was able to hold out and beat them by 1 point, 17-16. These guys, they were just very average this year. They were good enough to make a bowl game. I'm not going to knock them. They played strong at times. They just really struggled against the more premier teams in the ACC. And a lot of their games were close, and it just came down to a possession or two. And a couple of those they choked away, like the Penn State game and the Pitt game. These guys, they're all about the run game. They're going to try to establish it early and keep it often. They're averaging 193 yards a game running the ball. It's 39th in the nation. And they only average 181 passing, so they actually average more yards rushing. They're 103rd in the nation passing. They're just not a passing team. They're 100th in the nation at points for with 22 points a game, and they gave up 26 points a game, which was 60th in the nation. So they're not good at putting up points. Their stats are a little skewed by their games against Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Florida State, but the fact of the matter still stands. They don't put up a lot of points, and their defense really has to kind of carry this team and keep them in it. So they need their games to be low scoring for them to really have a chance at it. They're going to try to get Smith and Gully running. The two average 1,280 yards. They total 1,280 yards on the season combined, and combined for 15 touchdowns with right around 5 yards per carry between the two of them. Their quarterback, Hunt, actually only had 1,450 yards and 10 touchdowns on the year. They have more rushing touchdowns than passing overall. Overall, these guys are really going to have to work to get that run game going because they're playing another strong running team on the other side. So let's just talk about them. The Minnesota Golden Gophers, the surprise of the Big Ten kind of this year. They played really strong in the Legends division through a lot of adversity because their coach Jerry Kill had seizures at times and was actually gone for a few weeks, and they had to have an interim coach come in. But these guys, they played a solid season. They had a couple late losses that kind of hurt them and knocked them out of what they wanted to do, kind of knocked them back to reality. Anyways, let's talk about their season real quick. They started out with wins over UNLV, New Mexico State, Western Illinois, and a good win against San Jose State, 43-24. Just four not too difficult teams just to kind of get them into it. They actually played New Mexico State on the road, which was interesting, but they beat them easily. So they started out 4-0 and then went into Big Ten play, and they did better than people thought they would. They were able to go 4-4 in the Big Ten. They started out with losses, 23-7 and 42-13 to Iowa and Michigan. Not a good start, especially giving up 42 points to Michigan. But then they kicked it on. They were able to beat Northwestern 2017, then 24th ranked Nebraska 34-23. They won at IU, which was one of the best teams that didn't make a bowl game. That offense was unbelievable. They beat them 42-39 in a shootout. And then at home against Penn State, 24-10 victory, had them riding high with a 4-2 Big Ten record at the time going into their last two games, but they were both tough opponents. They started out with 19th ranked Wisconsin at home, and Wisconsin's D was just too much for them. They got beat 20-7. And they ended the year at then 11th ranked Michigan State, and they just couldn't. They could not move the ball on them. The final score was 14-3. Michigan State didn't score a lot, but Minnesota just couldn't do anything on offense. These guys kind of cater toward a low-scoring game, just like Syracuse. They run the ball a lot. As a matter of fact, 200 yards a game. That's good enough for 33rd in the nation. A lot of it goes to David Cobb. This dude averaged 5.1 yards a carry and had 1,111 yards. That's right, 1,111. And 7 touchdowns. And they have another running back, Leidner, who only had 89 carries, but 7 of them were for touchdowns. He had over 380 yards. So these guys are both pretty strong running backs, and it's going to be interesting to watch them really work in this game. They only average 141 yards passing. They had the 6th fewest attempts passing in the entire Division I football group. 116th in the nation in yardage. They don't score a lot of points, 26 a game, but they also only gave up 22, so they actually kind of flip-flopped Syracuse, who scores 22 and gave up 26. And one big difference, I think, for them compared to Syracuse is their losses outside of that 42-13 defeat against Michigan weren't that bad. They're competitive in every game, their defense keeps them in it, and their offense is able to move the ball enough to at least keep them competitive. This game is going to be all about running. Syracuse and Minnesota are both going to have to look to establish the run early on and keep it often. It's going to be a low-scoring game because of that, I think. I don't think there will be a lot of turnovers because neither team passes the ball that much. But I don't know. We're just going to see how this goes. I think Minnesota's a little better at moving the ball, and I think their defense is a little better than Syracuse's. It's going to be close, though. I don't know. I think whichever team is able to control the ball more, especially in the first half to the third quarter, is really going to get it because they're going to wear the opposing defense out and keep the opposing offense on the bench. I think it's really going to be a field position battle, a low-scoring game, and I think Minnesota is going to come out on top and end this surprisingly good season of theirs. I think Syracuse is going to try to keep it close, but I think that their offense isn't going to be able to move the ball enough and put up enough points. And I think the final score is going to be 24-14 Minnesota with the victory. Good luck to both teams, and good luck to Jerry Kill because his health problems have been scaring me along with every other college football fan this year. So I just hope he's able to have a healthy trip during this bowl, and I hope he's able to coach the team and maybe even celebrate at the end of the day. Who knows? Comment what you guys think is going to happen below, and good luck to both teams. Later.